You know, you mentioned Cheryl these questions she continues to face about her Wall Street transcripts, these high dollar speeches she gave to Wall Street bankers and others. Do you think at the end of the day she's going to be forced to release those transcripts, which were created at her insistence when she gave these speeches?
Honestly, I can't see how she is not going to be forced to release them. When someone runs for president, everything is on the table, everything about their past. And the public expects to know. My newspaper editorialized. We have a strict wall between the news side and the editorial side, but I would note the New York Times editorialized this week saying she's got to release that information. I can't see how she gets around that. Maybe she can put it off long enough so that she will have locked up the nomination and it won't matter. I think Michael also touched on something very important around Hillary Clinton, and that is the enthusiasm gap. She's not a candidate who is thrilling people. She's the pragmatist's candidate. And Manu talked about the endorsements. I'm also not sure how big a deal it is. How big a deal are endorsements when what's animating voters are outsiders? We're seeing it both on the Republican side and on the Democratic side, where the enthusiasm on the Democratic side is with young people and with Sanders.
And that's going to be the challenge for Hillary. Even if she does rack up these victories, Bernie is raising a ton of money because of that enthusiasm. And he can be in this race for a very long time. So when I talked to Harry Reid about it, he thinks that it could possibly go to the Democratic convention in July. So
we could have two broker
conventions, a political reporter's dream.
Well, and of course, the Democrats require proportional representation, which sounds obscure, I guess, but it means that even if you keep losing states, you can continue racking up delegates.
The other issue I think it's raised with the Wall Street transcripts is these are speeches she gave after she left the Secretary of State's office. She said, I had no idea whether I was running for president at that time. That's just not true. She clearly was on the path to run for president at that time. She decided to make an extra few $1 million going around speaking to groups who at the time was very clear were very unpopular with the Democratic base she would need to court later on, and unpopular with the country. This is a general election issue. So I think there's a question of judgment here. I mean, she made this decision knowing that she would pay for it later, and now she's paying for it.
And it taps into everything that people that make people uneasy about Hillary Clinton, which is the notion that she's not like one of us. She's rich. She caters to Wall Street. She's hiding something. She creates her own rules. All these things feed into a narrative about Hillary Clinton that is broader than just these speeches, but also involves the emails, the using a home server, different standards for her aides, the whole gamut.
Well, Michael, you mentioned that this issue of the Wall Street transcripts is a total